I want to write this article addressing the new New York Times-Siena College poll that was released, where they spoke with registered voters from 6 of the battleground states, in which 5 of the battleground states, Donald Trump was showing to take a lead over Joe Biden. And specifically, they were asking the question at that moment, who would they vote for if the election was that for 2024 was that day? The majority were selecting Donald Trump over Joe Biden. The 2 areas of the poll I wanted to focus on was actually 2 demographics. Young Americans, which is documented between the age of 18 and 29, and Black Americans. 2 demographics that are traditionally seen as being reliable for the Democrats. But according to this polling, they were showing that Donald Trump is taking the lead even with these particular demographics. And I want to talk about why. For young people, I think a lot of it comes down to the promises that were made that Joe Biden had on the campaign trail. He promised to alleviate their student loan debt. And really what he did was kind of kick the issue down the road. One of my criticisms is that he never addressed the elephant in the room, which is the colleges, who are the ones who are setting the prices for these kids. Instead, what he wanted to do was a form of a bailout, which obviously didn't go through and didn't work. And I think anybody who's rationally minded could see that this wouldn't work. I think ultimately it was an attempt that everybody knew would fail. And even if it completed, it wouldn't stop the next generation of kids getting screwed over by the college system. So that's a huge part of it. They're watching the economy as far as the housing market. Young Americans riddled with college debt, unable to get a home of any sort. They're watching rent prices go up. The interest rate for houses has increased. Why? Because of inflation, which is also hitting young Americans as well. The gap between what the children of the next generation, the young adults of America, and what their parents had is widening for them. The opportunities that their parents had to own a home at a relatively young age, to be involved in the economy in a sufficient manner, is disappearing for them. And that is a great concern for young Americans. And then you have Black Americans who are a reliable voting bloc for Democrats for various reasons. But they saw, as the Democrats were advocating for lockdowns, which tremendously hurt Black businesses, it tremendously hurt the education of their children within the schools, keeping them out of schools. The situation for Black Americans during the lockdowns is one of the least talked about topics. In a time when, during the Trump administration, Black Americans were showing an increase in economic advantages. And during the Biden administration, they promised to improve the situation for Black Americans. And that hasn't been shown to actually occur. I think many of these situations for these 2 demographics are being felt by everybody. But I just find it interesting that they're being felt to the point where many of them are choosing to do something they probably never thought they would do, which is vote for Donald Trump.